Let's take this question based on time, speed and distance. A man is running in a railway tunnel. When he covers exactly 2/5 of the length of the tunnel, he sees a train approaching the tunnel from behind. He realizes that irrespective of the direction in which he runs, he will be hit by the train at one of the ends of the tunnel. If the speed of the man is 10 km per hour, find the speed of the train. Now initially we suppose the person is here, right? When and the train is here, right? Now train has to cover up this distance and person has to cover up this distance. Now this distance is 2/5 and this distance is 3/5. So I assume that this distance is 20 kilometer and this distance is 30 kilometer. That's 2 is to 3 ratio. Now the person has to cover up 20 kilometer with the speed of 10 kilometer per hour, and the train is covering this distance, whatever is distance. I suppose it is x. So the train is covering x distance in 2 hours, right? I would repeat once again. See, the person is going from this direction to from this point to this direction with the speed of 10 kilometer per hour. So it is the distance 20 kilometers. He'll be taking 2 hours, right? And this length is x. So that in 2 hours the train will cover length x. That means speed will be x by 2, right? Or if the person goes in this direction, that means he's covering 30 kilometer with the speed of 10 kilometer per hour. That means he'll be taking 3 hours, right? So in 3 hours the train reaches from this point to this point, right? So 3 hours total distance which is covering is 50 plus x, right? So this is also speed of the train, this is also speed of the train, right? So if we calculate, 3x is equal to, so x is 100 kilometer. Now 100 kilometer it is running in 2 hours. So the speed of the train is 50 kilometer per hour. So that's option B over here. I hope you are clear. Friends, here we have a problem based on number system. For how many of first 300 even natural numbers is the total number of factors even? Before we proceed for this problem, I would like to discuss a concept over here. See, how do we find out the total number of factors for any number? Maybe it's odd or even, right? You just have to listen to me carefully. See, suppose I have a number 45, right? 45 is what? A 9 into 5, that's 3 square into 5 raised to 1. So the total number of factors will be what? This plus 1 and this plus 1, that is 2 plus 1 and 1 plus 1, right? For any number, first of all, what you have to do, this 3 into 2, 6 factors. For any number, if you want to find out the total number of factors, what we have to do, first of all, just break the number into its prime factors. Maybe it's a raised to p into b raised to q into c raised to r, something like that, right? So the total number of factors will be what? P plus 1 into q plus 1 into r plus 1. Okay, so here in this case the total number of factors are 6. Similarly, if we talk about maybe number 81, 81 is what? 3 raised to 4. So the total number of factors will be what? 4 plus 1, that's 5, right? Similarly, if I talk about 36, 36 is what? 9 into 4, that's 2 square into 3 square. So the total number of factors will be what? 2 plus 1 into 2 plus 1, that's 9, right? And suppose I talk about 60, 60 is what? 15 into 4, so it's 2 square into 3 into 5. So the total number of factors is 2 plus 1, 1 plus 1 and 1 plus 1. So that's 3 2s are 6 2s are 12. Now I have given you 4 examples over here. Now there is an important observation over here. Now what's that observation? See, 45 is having 6 factors, 81 is 5 factors, 36 is having 9 factors and 60 is having 12 factors. Now 45 and 60, both of them are not perfect square numbers, and 36 and 81, both of them are perfect square numbers. Now if numbers are perfect square numbers like 36 and 81, the total number of factors will be odd in number, right? Here we are able to see that 9 factors are there of 36 and 5 factors are there of 81. That means if the numbers are perfect square numbers, the total number of factors will be odd in number, and if the numbers are not perfect square like 45 and 60 over here, then the total number of factors will be even in number. So that's a Very important concept that you have to keep in your mind, right? So the same will be applied over here. Bit deviation is there, bit twist is there, but the concept will remain same. Now let's try this question. So in this question we are having 300 even numbers, right? From 2, 4, 6, 8 up to 600, right? So there are 300 even natural numbers, and if we go for the if we find out the total number of factors, we have to get that the total number of factors must be even. That means what we have to do, we have to eliminate the perfect square numbers. Now how many perfect square numbers will be there? Square of 2, 4, 6, 8 up to I think 24 square is say 576, and 26 square is 676, so up to 24. In all there will be 12 numbers, right? Square of 2, square of 4, square of 6 up to square of 24. 12 numbers are there which are perfect squares, right? So out of 300 even numbers, 12 numbers are perfect squares. So all the perfect square numbers will produce the total number of factors in odd numbers, but we want the total number of factors to be even, so we have to choose all the numbers which are not perfect square, right? So out of 300 we eliminate 12 numbers. That means we have 288 numbers which are even as well as non-perfect squares, right? So they will produce the total number of factors in even. So your answer is option C. Okay, going to be very important concept, so just listen to the explanation once again if you are not clear for the first time, right? You can even take some of the numbers on your own and just try to verify this concept. Okay, now this question, a number n is equal to 5 raised to x into y is a product of 20 consecutive 3-digit number. If x and y are positive integers, what is the maximum possible value of x? See, if we talk about 3-digit numbers, the maximum power of 5 can be achieved from number 625. That's 5 raised to 4, right? So we have to choose the 20 consecutive integers or numbers such that 625 should be a part of them, right? So we can start with 620. So from 620 to 639, in all there will be 20 consecutive numbers having 3 digits, or you can even choose from 625 to 644, right? So 620 there will be 1 5, and then 625 there will be 5 raised to 4, then 630 will be having 1 5, then 635 will be having 1 5. So either series you choose, you'll be getting 4, 5, 6 and 7. That's 5 raised to 7, not more than that. If you leave 620, you can go to 640. Further it will be having a single power of 5. Okay, so what is the maximum possible value of x? That is 7. I hope you are clear. Now this question, what is the sum of all the 5-digit numbers that can be found by arranging the digits 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 using each digit once and only once? Friends, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, there are 5 numbers. So by rearrangement, we can make a 5 factorial, that is 120 unique numbers of 5 digits, right? Now there are 2 methods to solve this question, right? What you can do, since 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 5 numbers are in arithmetic progression. So what you can do is you can find out the average value of one number, and from that average value of one number you can calculate the value of total value of 120 numbers, right? So how do we calculate the average? Just write down the smallest number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Write down the biggest number, that is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 divided by 2. This is the average value of one number, and if we multiply it by 120, we'll be getting the sum of all 120 numbers, right? So it's 60. 2 plus 6, 8, 3 plus 5, 8, 4 plus 4, 8, 5 plus 3, 8, 6 and 2, 8 into 6, 0. So 6, 8 are 48, 6 8s are 48 plus 4, 52, then it's 53, 3, 3, 5. So 5, 333, 280, that is sum of all the numbers, right? So we are having option A over here. Now the other method, when the numbers which are given over here are not in arithmetic progression, so we have to go for the other method also. So that's I would like to discuss that also with you. Just a moment. So from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 120 numbers will be formed. Now 120 divided by 5, 24. That means each number will come for 24 times at each position. Each number will come for 24 times at each position. That means 6 will come at this position for 24 times, and 5 for 24 times, and 4 for 24 times, 3 for 24 times, and 2 for 24 times, right? So in all 120 numbers, and total number is 5. So each number will come at any position for 24 times, right? So what will be the sum of the numbers which are at units place? So that's 2 24 times, 324 times, 424 times, 524 times, 624 times. So this will be the sum of the numbers or the digits which are at units place. So 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6. So that's 4 into 520. So 20 into 24, that's 480. Right? So what is the sum of units place? That is 480. So what will you do? You will write 0 and carry your 48, right? Similarly, the sum of the second line will also be 480, right? So 480, and you have 48 with you. So 8, 8 plus 4, 12, and 4 plus 1, 5. So the total of the second line will be, or the tens place will be 528. You will write 8 and 52 will be carried, right? So further, the third place 480 will be the total, and then you have 52 with you as carried over. So 2, 8 plus 5, 13, and 4 plus 1, 5. So you will write 2, 53 will be carried. In similar manner you can proceed. Now you can match up the last three digits, 280, which is only there in this option, right? Even 80 is already there only in this option. So if you do not calculate further, then also it's okay. Your option answer will be option A only. Okay. So I hope you are clear with both the methods. So just look at the numbers carefully. If they are in arithmetic progression, the average method will be very easy because it will produce the answer in just less than a minute. And if you don't have the numbers in arithmetic progression, then you can proceed with this method, right? Now friends, we have this problem. N is equal to 2.xxy till infinity it is going on, where at most one of the digits x and y is 0. Which of the following numbers when multiplied by n necessarily results in an integer? Now 2 is the integral part and the remaining is the rational part. And how do we call it as a rational number? I take an example. Suppose I have number 0.23 bar. So what's that? 23 by 99. Suppose I have 0.235 bar. So that's 235 by 999, right? As many numbers which are having bar over there, those many nines we have to take in the denominator. Now what's happening over here? We don't have to deal with 2. We have to deal with the xxy only. So precisely this is xxy bar, right? So 0.xxy bar we can say. So that will be actually xxy by 999. Now we have to convert that to an integer. So we have to eliminate 999. That means we have to multiply this number by a number which is multiple of 999, right? So from the options we have just one option, that is option D, which is multiple of 999. So if we multiply this, we'll be getting this number to be converted to an integer, right? So to do this sort of problem, your concept of this non-terminating repeating decimal must be clear, which I have discussed in my number system sessions. So if you are not clear, just do revise that particular session once again. Okay. Now we have to find out the unit digit of this expression. Is 7 raised to 14 raised to 21 and 4 raised to 15 raised to 25. Now it's very simple. Do not scared of this heavy numbers over here. See, 14 raised to 21, that means 14 into 14 into 14 for 21 times. Obviously it will be a multiple of 4, isn't it? That means we have 7 raised to 4k. That means the power of 7 is any multiple of 4, right? Similarly, 4 raised to 15 raised to 25, that means obviously it will be an odd number because 15 is an odd number, and any power of odd number will produce an odd number. So 4 raised to odd power. Now any odd number except 5, if it is raised to 4th power, the unit digit will always be 1, right? And if 4 is raised to odd power, the unit digit will be 4, right? 4 raised to odd will be 4. 4 raised to even will end in 6. Further 4 raised to odd will end in 4, in even in 6. So we are having 4 raised to an odd power, so that will end in 4. So 1 plus 4, the total unit digit of this calculation will be 5. Even you can do it mentally, right? See, most of the students just get scared if they see this 14 raised to 21 and get into very big calculations, right? So it's actually not at all required, because 14 21 times it will obviously a multiple of 4. So 7 raised to 4k, right? Any odd number except 5, if it is raised to 4th power, the unit digit will always be 1, right? Similarly over here, 4 is to odd power, it will end in 4. So the total unit digit is 5. Okay. Now friends, we have this problem based on logarithm. To do this sort of problem, you must be clear about the basic logarithmic properties, right? Here I'll be using a property that is a raised to log b to the base a, and that's b, right? So that's an important property that I'll be using over here. Now instead of solving the equation, what you can do is you can go by option, right? Suppose I take the option B, that's 10, because if I take 1 as so it will be 0, so left hand side will not be equal to right hand side. Suppose I take 10, so log 10 to the base 10 will be 1, so it's 5 raised to 1, that's 5. 50 minus log 10 to the base 10, so it's 5 only. So 5 is equal to 50 minus 5. That means it is incorrect. That means option 10 is not suitable. Suppose we have 100. So 5 raised to log 100 to the base 10. It's 5 square, right? So, and on the right hand side, 50 minus x is 100. So it's 10 raised to 2 log 10, 5. Or I can transfer this to over here. So it's 5 square. So this and this is same, as we can compare over here. So it will be 5 square, that means 25. So it's 50 minus 25. So on the right hand side also it's 25. On the left hand side it's also 25. So 100 is the most suitable option. Okay, just this property should be clear in your mind. I hope you are clear.